So, I'm standing on a buzzing main street, coffee shops slammed, delivery trucks looping the block, and a city planner tells me, "We're stalling before anyone notices." Let that sink in. Services ticked up 0.1%, but manufacturing just notched its third drop in 4 months, with durable goods back to 2011 levels. Then he points to the ledger, a $270 billion infrastructure deficit. Roads, pipes, transit, aging out with no budget. Here's what nobody tells you. That busy storefront traffic can't cover a blown engine in autos and metals. Keep watching. This town's ghost growth is about to make sense. Ever notice the mall lot is jammed like it's Black Friday, and then you hit a pothole that could swallow your front axle? That disconnect is the tell. Street level looks fine, great even. The food court is chaos. The returns line snakes past 3 stores, and you still can't get a patio seat at noon. Trucks circle like sharks because loading docks are full. It feels like momentum. It's not. Here's the thing. Services can hum while the real economy, the stuff that builds tax base, drifts lower. Restaurants, salons, parcel drop-offs, all up. You tap your card and it pings, feels alive. But goods? The grind is slowing. Manufacturing slips again. Forestry and logging off. Agriculture softer. Those aren't just sectors. That's your assessment base, your industrial mill rate, your town's ability to fix the water main before it becomes a geyser under Main and 3rd. Lattes don't pave roads, exports do. Think of it like a flashy phone on 1% battery. The screen is bright, apps are snappy, you can still stream. Meanwhile, the battery icon is screaming. Services are the screen, goods are the battery. You can keep scrolling for a while, but the moment you need maps, you're dead. Towns are doing the same thing. Bright screen energy while the power source fades. The data backs the vibe. November GDP, flat after a 0.3% dip. Services squeaked out a 0.1% lift. Retail, up 1.3% on the month, juiced by resolved strikes. That's not a boom, that's a sugar rush. It hits, it fades, you're back to yawning. And when those stoppages end, postal, teachers, you get a quick pop like finding a 20 in your coat from last winter. Nice surprise, not actual income. The baseline didn't change. Why doesn't a packed services scene scale your city's budget? Because the revenue plumbing is different. Sales taxes skim the top of every burger and haircut, but cities don't keep most of that. Municipal budgets lean on property taxes, land transfer fees, and business taxes. Those grow when you add square footage that matters. Plants, warehouses, yard space, expensive kit bolted to concrete. Capital-heavy assets drive assessments. Service growth without new production is like renting more mall kiosks while the anchor tenant shutters. Plenty of foot traffic, shrinking rent roll. Walk it through the ledger. A manufacturer buys machines, hires trades, signs a long lease, and orders parts from local suppliers. That cash bounce shows up in home purchases, contractor gigs, and yes, permits. Assessments climb. Then you bond against that stability to rehab a bridge without flinching. Now delete that manufacturer. You still sell coffee. You still ship parcels. You get fewer permits, thinner assessments, slower comps, and a council meeting about deferred maintenance, which is code for hope the pipe holds another winter. And you're not ready for what's next. The wipeout in autos and metals isn't just lost factory overtime. It's the silent budget killer. Those jobs have multipliers, tool and die, machine shops, coatings, logistics yards, that don't show up on Instagram but pay a pile of commercial taxes. When they stall, city math breaks. You start delaying resurfacing cycles. You let the culverts slide. Then the potholes go lunar. That's the mini payoff hiding in plain sight. A 0.1% bump in services can't fund a $270 billion infrastructure hole. Your pipes do not care how long the bubble T line is. They care about capital, and capital follows durable production, not desert trends. So that full parking lot? It's a shiny hood on a car with a seizing engine. If the mall is the hood, the engine is manufacturing. Let's open it and see why it's grinding itself to metal. So how did durable goods slide back toward 2011 levels while everyone kept clapping for a busy Saturday at the mall? Because the engine seized where you don't look. In the plants, the yards, the shops that actually cut, press, weld, and ship. The dashboard looked fine. Orders here, a retail pop there, while the crankshaft cracked. You felt the vibration but called it seasonal. It wasn't. It was the core stalling in slow motion. Let's break it down. Autos are the choke point. First, chips. Still tight, still misallocated, still forcing weird production schedules that kill throughput. Then you layer in US trade threats. Tariff noise doesn't just raise prices, it freezes decisions. You don't tool for a new line if your cross-border bill of materials might get a random surcharge in 6 months. Result? Manufacturing posts declines in 3 of the last 4 months. Output gets choppy. Inventories get awkward. Scheduling becomes a guessing game. When autos stumble, the rest don't just wobble, they trip. Machinery slows because plants stop ordering upgrades. Fabricated metal products thin out because the stamping orders dry up. That's your local supplier eyeing the calendar and cutting a shift. That's your cousin texting that overtime is gone and the foreman is watching headcount. And that's your city's capital plan getting redlined because the assessment pipeline, new square footage, new kit, new valuations, suddenly looks brittle. The numbers tell you the bruise is real. Motor vehicles and parts down roughly 6.4%. Durable goods broadly slumping. Forestry and logging off about 2.8%. Export-linked pain compresses local investment because mills and shops service international demand first and trim at home when the order book blinks. You don't commission a new press or a kiln when your biggest buyer just ghosted. Here's the multiplier nobody sees until it's gone. $1 in manufacturing runs laps. Paychecks feed housing demand. Tooling orders keep small shops busy. Those invoices boost business bank balances that turn into storefront renovations and new delivery vans. Municipal assessments rise with every bolted machine and expanded bay. Pull that thread, and the loop snaps. Layoffs hit, permits stall, pro formas die on spreadsheets, and the road work you thought was scheduled gets punted another season. And the headwinds don't stay outside the fence line. US tariff chatter and policy whiplash stall cross-border orders because buyers hate uncertainty more than they hate price. Integrated North American supply chains turn a tiny shock into a rolling blackout. A missing casting in Ohio idles a plant in Ontario, which cancels a run at the shop outside your town, which tells the powder coater to hold off, which means 2 guys get sent home early on Friday. Now stack that reality on the part no one likes to say out loud. Municipalities own most of the stuff you stand on and drive over, roads, pipes, bridges, but they only catch a slice of the tax stream. The infrastructure tab sits around $270 billion. That is not a rounding error. If you think a few busy quarters at the food court will backfill that, you're living on vibes. The math says no. Even the money backdrop won't save you. The Bank of Canada holding near 2.25% reads as caution, not celebration. Cheapish money can't pour concrete if the revenue model starves cities. Financing without funding is just new debt stacked on old pipes. So the mini payoff is blunt. Durable goods drifting toward decade-plus lows plus a $270 billion backlog gives you a town that looks fine, right up until it doesn't. One winter, one water main, one lost buyer, and you hit the wall.